Now, the ongoing battle between the EFCC and Nigeria's former First Lady, Patience Jonathan, keeps getting interesting, with a fresh twist to the case emerging almost on a weekly basis.
Indeed. Now, the anti-corruption agency had dragged Patience Jonathan to court over corruption allegations bordering on misappropriation of public funds. The acting chairman of the EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, disclosed to newsmen in 2016 that the former First Lady was being investigated after the sum of $15 million was found in her account.
The EFCC then went ahead to obtain a court order to freeze her account and seized some property of hers. Now, since then, it's been back and forth with the former First Lady and the EFCC.
Well, at some point, the House of Representatives had to intervene after Patience Jonathan, that is, wrote a petition to the Green Chamber against the EFCC in what she termed the persistent and unwarranted personal attacks and harassment by the agency.
The former First Lady has now called on President Buhari to call Ibrahim Magu to order, accusing the EFCC boss of trying to destroy her family.
She says she is being targeted for the role she played in the 2015 election and for the way she supported her husband. Well, joining us to talk about this now is Ahmed Abbasi. He's a lawyer. Good morning to you, and thank you for joining us. You're smiling.
Good to see you.
Thank you for joining us. Really.
Thank you.
Yes. What is your immediate reaction? What was your immediate reaction, really, when you heard what was credited to Patience Jonathan's spokesperson?
I think we are used to drama in the war against corruption, and there's always this attempt to accuse the federal government of witch hunting, going after oppositions and all the rest of them. So I think it's just the normal traditional way of trying to cry foul that you are being witch hunted. But to me, I think when you are accused of a crime, you should be concentrating effort more in establishing your innocence rather than crying foul. The courts are there for you, so you should array your legal defense team and let them establish your innocence. And once that is done, you go back to your normal life. For me,
well, of course, when this $31.4 million cash was discovered in the bank vault, we will not bother to name the bank now for obvious reasons. The EFCC, according to the EFCC, they are saying that, look, this would not really have come into the public domain if Patience Jonathan herself had not come out to claim ownership of that money. So the issue of being witch hunted and all of that, do you think it really arises? And how would you assess the way EFCC has actually gone about this particular issue so far?
For me, I think EFCC is trying its best within the limits of their competence. Yes, they are trying their best within the limits of, like I said, their competence. Coming out to say she is the owner of those funds, well, she's entitled to claim any funds if the EFCC is trying to lay claim to it, or, I mean, attempting to get an order for forfeiture. If you know the money belongs to you. But the question I've always asked is this: your ability to explain how you came about such amount of money. If anybody in Nigeria is unable to explain decently to the society, because $1 million is not 100,000 naira. $1 million today is about 365 million naira. For God's sake, if you have been a civil servant or you've been a worker all your life and you have such amount of money, you should be able to explain to the society how you came about that money articulately.
Well,
you
she
should.
She said former first ladies of the country are not being investigated, that she's particularly handpicked and being witch hunted, and that is why only her NGOs are being investigated by the EFCC.
I think I also find it very comical. Analogically, if an armed robber is caught and is being tried, how will it sound if the armed robber is saying, I'm the only armed robber that is being tried for robbery? There are so many armed robbers I know in the society that have not been tried and things like that. I think, like I said, people should focus more on the issues at stake. You've been alleged to have corruptly enriched yourself through public access to public funds. you should do everything possible to clear your name.
But she did not hold any public office. She was only First Lady, or the wife of the president, apart from her being Perm Sec, while she was in Bayelsa, of course, while she was First Lady. So how, and if the court thought it wise, in the case of a separate $5 million that was frozen and then defreezed, if that's the correct word, the court thought it wise to allow her access to that money. What do we make of all of this?
See, I think we must constantly try to, place our finger on the core issue. The core issue is that this government is fighting corruption from all sides. And the major problem we have is that people who have opportunity of being close to the corridors of power, whether officially or unofficially or by association, they've always dipped their hand or abused those relationships. That you are the wife, yes, allegedly, yes. That's why I said it's an allegation. Then you should concentrate effort and energy in explaining. If you find $10 million in my account and you are taking me to court, there are sources of those funds. If they are not illegitimate, I should be able to call. I say, okay, as a legal practitioner, for example, I should be able to say, oh, in December 2017, I was involved in a transaction wherein I earned 200,000. These are the inflow into my account, and these are the receipts issued out to that effect. In January 2017, I was involved in a transaction. I earned $250,000. This is the cash inflow from this organization, and this is the receipt. I give. Once you tender those evidence before any judge, they will let you off the hook. But when you are stammering, oh, it was a gift, or I'm involved in a transaction, I made the 10 million from a transaction, with who? With yourself or with some spirit?
Well, the Nigerian judicial system actually puts the onus on the prosecutor to prove that beyond reasonable doubt.
Yes.
What's your take on it? What's your reading of this outcry? We even hear Michael Zekome, senior advocate of Nigeria, saying that it is possible too that she's being humiliated or witch-hunted because of where she comes from. You know, all kinds of reasons.
I think I do not subscribe to such allegations. Like I said, the court is there for everybody. You've been brought before the court. Your responsibility is, thank God, she's a privileged citizen. The likes of Mike Ezekome, in fact, she can have close to 10, 20 senior advocates. They'll do a better job rather than shouting on the pages of newspaper that you have been witch-hunted. If I have opportunity of advising her, I will tell her, let's forget about the emotions and the sentiments attached to it, because in Nigeria, there's this political coloration and ethnic coloration to everything that and that's why somehow we find ourselves in this logjam. If you take somebody from the southwest and you want to prosecute the person, it's either his tribesmen will come out and say, oh, because he's not a northerner, that is why we are witch-hunting him. But they are forgetting that Idasuki is there and facing serious trial and things like that. For me, look, the most important thing is this. President Jonathan is alleged to have a question to answer. The likes of Mike Ezekome and other senior advocates, like I said, she's a privileged citizen. She should get the best lawyers, go to court, and prove her innocence. All right. And let the society.
Let's look at some of these.
That would be my advice. But for her to say she's been witch-hunted, I do not believe. Okay. Everybody that has been arraigned for one offense or the other is always alleging political victimization and all the rest.
Okay, apart from being attacked, that's by the way said, like close to 4 times since 2015, the former president's house in Abuja was vandalized, allegedly vandalized by security operatives put there by the government to man the building. Apart from that, 6 accounts belonging to the former First Lady were frozen by the EFCC, that in fact the House of Representatives had to order the EFCC to unfreeze those accounts because they were done without a court order. So if she lined up these reasons really, and if you look at them, because of the ways they were done, don't you think she has good reasons to say that she's been witch-hunted?
you know, sometimes our institutions, I will not shy away from the fact that sometimes out of overzealousness, they do so many things without following due procedure. There are legal channels when your rights are infringed upon. You can bring action against them for damages. You can sue them for civil action. Even the Attorney General of the Federation, prior to they are getting a court order prescribing IPOB. Initially, you know, they just prescribed IPOB, and the society shouted that, no, you can't do that. There must be due diligence. You must follow due process. You must adhere to the rule of law. There are principles laid down for any action within a civilized society. And what did the Attorney General do? They went back to follow due process in asking the court for an order for prescription. Yeah,
but doesn't that in itself scuttle and jeopardize a case like this when from the get-go you don't go about it the way you should? I mean, do you fault the way the EFCC has gone about it?
No, like I said, I will always fault any action that is not predicated on the rule of law. Because if you have ever been a victim of, you know, arbitrariness
and impunity,
you won't feel like a human being. You will feel dehumanized. And so as a lawyer, I won't support, I will never support, because I've also been, my clients have been victims of arbitrariness and all the rest of them. So I will always insist at any point in time, no matter how heavy the charges are, no matter the allegations, you must follow due process. That is what a civilized society does.
Well, what's your take on her claims that it's actually because of her role during her husband, the former President Goodluck Jonathan, her role in drumming up support for him? I mean, we all saw her performance then, a mobilizer of men and women, as a matter of fact, really one of the most powerful first ladies, as some have described her. That claim, do you think it's possible that this investigations of Patience Jonathan might just be an investigation of former president by proxy?
Like I said, we like chasing shadows and leaving the substance.
Is that what the EFCC is doing in this case?
No, like I told you, I'm not a supporter of EFCC's arbitrariness or impunity. I'm not. But like I said, elections have come and gone. 2015, we're in 2017. The elections have come and gone. Somebody has won the election. Life has to move on. There's a criminal allegation on your neck. Do everything possible, whipping up sentiment that because you supported your husband. Of course, everybody expects you to support your husband. I wasn't expecting her to do anything else.
What we've been seeing so far in this country since the new party, opposition party got to power, was that members of the former ruling party, PDP, once they are prosecuted and they jump ship and join the APC, their sins have been forgiven. What does that tell you, really?
That's very unfortunate, and the party must be aware that Nigerians are also watching. That the Nigerians are watching, and that payback time will also come, and that's why they have to be very careful, because Nigerians are more sophisticated in 2017 than they were in 2015. I can tell you that categorically. And I used to tell people, the vast majority of people who actually determined the outcome of the 2015 elections were not card-carrying members of any party. They were just people like myself that are sitting on the fence and constantly championing, expecting, working, advocating for a better society. And they are all watching. And they've been talking. They are making up their mind. And we have to be very careful, because those same people, their power to constantly reward or punish resides with them. And like I said, believe me honestly, the society is becoming more politically conscious and alert than any other in this era in our history.
When the anti-corruption agency of a country is seen to be partisan, what is the way forward for that country? Because there are many people in the country that believe that and think strongly that the EFCC is but a tool in the hand of the government.
It's what?
It's just a tool.
There has always been this allegation, even during the time of Obasanjo, you know. The other opposition parties will always claim that the reason why they are witch hunting and the reason why we are being prosecuted is because we are being witch hunted. But remember that Saraki is a member of EPC. Are you going to say he's been witch hunted because of what? For me, I will not sit down here.
His case at the CCT went.
I won't sit down here to tell you that EFCC is 100% right and correct in its approach. I want a more robust fight against corruption, whether they are members of APC or they are members of PDP.
So how does that render the war against corruption? If the general perception is that if you belong to the ruling party, you're a saint, but if you're in the opposition party, then you are the villain.
It's a minus on the part of the ruling party, because like I told you, Nigerians on this side of the divide that are not in the corridors of power, smart Nigerians, very intelligent, analytical, they are watching. And their opinion, if the government is sensitive enough, should listen to the opinion of Nigerians. The same way when Odua was involved in some corruption cases, Nigerians clamored for her removal. But the president kept quiet, allowed her to continue, discountenanced the opinion of the Nigerians. And when it was payback time, there were several factors that made certain people to make decisions against him, because people said from his body language, he doesn't seem to be interested in fighting corruption.
All right. So
that same opinion
is in the Senate now.
Yes. Well, that's the society. That's the
question.
No, that's the society. That's the society you have.
The right thing.
So the opinion.
So when you say that society, is that not contradictory? When you say that society has come of age in terms of being more discerning and knowing the right thing to do at the right time when it comes to using that ballot paper?
No, it's not contradiction. Those who crafted democracy have a mid-term appraiser. Why didn't they say you should go for 8 years at a stretch? No, they put in the mid-term 4 years as a reward system and punishment system. You do very well in the first 4 years, we'll give you I reward you with another tenure. But if you disappoint my expectation, like the board of directors of a company, I'll give you the sack later.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. According to Loretta Onoche, the presidential aide on social media, there must be something about you that is attracting the EFCC, talking about Patience Jonathan. Yes. Well, Ahmed Abbas, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.